goodness. It's always fun starting the camera and getting it going. Okay, so good morning, everyone. We're going to do a few things today, and yeah, it's been a little trying on Amazon, yeah, right. On Facebook. Oh my God. Okay, turn that volume off. Okay, no volume. Volume down. Down. Okay, so yeah, so we tried to get on yesterday, and it cut me off. So I don't know what was happening. But good morning, Monique. How are you doing? So yeah, hopefully we get to stay on Facebook today. I'm not sure where it got cut off. I had a super busy day today, so I didn't get a chance to look at the video. So hopefully, I don't know what happened. And there's Lynn. Hey, hi. So so today we're going to do a couple things. We're going to do a smoothie, and we're going to make our own apple cider vinegar. So very exciting and very fun. So I made this actually apple cider vinegar, and it has the mother in it. And I made this actually in 2018, so 2 years ago. And it's super easy to make your own apple cider vinegar, and so we're gonna do that. So yesterday, what we did, I'm just keep looking at my other camera here, but that's okay. I can see what's going on, so we're all good. So yesterday, what we did was we made, and hopefully you saw it. Like I said, I didn't get the chance to check it, but we made a mango salsa yesterday, and I'm fermenting it, which means I'm going to leave it out for a couple days. So this was the mango salsa that we made yesterday, and hopefully most of that video is on there. Of course, it's so fantastic. I'll be making it again anyways, but we just did tomatoes, onions, garlic, ginger, peppers, and mangoes, obviously, and then a little bit of salt. And so when you mix it in there and you leave it out for a couple days, just enough for those bubbles to start forming, and they are just starting a little bit now. So 3 days out, and then keep tasting it and checking on it, because you want to make sure, you know, that the nothing is growing on the top. So you want to just make sure that everything is sealed, and but keep checking it, because it will start to ferment. And if you leave it too long in too warm of a spot, the fermentation bubbles will actually create pressure, and it could actually blow up. But normally that wouldn't happen in less than 3 days. So you just check on it for a few days, get it going for the ferment to where it just brings out that extra fermentation, just life. It just brings out life, and then you can put it in the fridge and you can store it for as long as you want. So that's that. The mango salsa turned out fabulous. What I want to do first is we're going to do a oh, I've got my hair, my glasses caught my hair in my eye. So what we're going to do first, we're going to do a smoothie, because I'm super excited to be able to run my Vitamix with my brand new to me lid. I have a lid for the Vitamix. So I probably have, I don't know how many videos with my Vitamix, which is like, I don't know, it must be 15 years old, and the lid never did really work or fit. And so I must have a million videos on there with me putting a towel over the old lid. But now I have a new lid, thanks to Monique, and it fits fabulous. So yeah, so with the Vitamix, it's a great machine. Like I said, I've had it for about 15 years, and it's, you know, it's looking its age. But I went to look at replacements, and I don't know, the reviews are that they're not made as good as they used to be. So guess I'm just going to work with that. We also have, as you can see, our pile of apples here, which is going to be for our applesauce. But first I want to make a smoothie, and Facebook again. The Facebook just shut off and on. Okay, I'm just going to carry on. I don't know what it is that Facebook is doing at 11 o'clock every day, but it's not being agreeable. So I'm just going to carry on. So so with the smoothies, you want to have more of the vegetables, and less fruit if you're working with your health, right? If you want to enhance your health and your energy, I like to have more vegetables, because if I have a lot of fruit through a smoothie, to me that's more like a treat or a dessert, even though it's full of absolute things that we need, and fruit has its own wonderful vitamins, minerals, and all that stuff. For me, for the energy, and maybe because I am a little sensitive to with blood sugar fluctuations, so I do like to keep that fruit down. And so I'm putting in a whole cucumber that I grew in the garden, so that's quite a lot of cucumber. And the other thing, when you're working with a any kind of a blender, like the Vitamix is pretty tough, but any kind of a blender, always put your waterier vegetables in first, because they will make the blade get nice and warmed up. You know, like it almost sort of lubricates the blades so that the sticky stuff doesn't stick as much, and it also, of course, makes the blades get going so that they're freed up and they don't get hung up if you're doing something, you know, thicker or heavier, right? So so I'm adding this is celery too, so we have a whole cucumber, we have like I think that was 3 stalks of celery, and what I want to do also, I'm going to add some of these other apples. So this is going to be our sweetness, but I'm going to add some pineapple too, and a little bit of beet. So, you know, probably it would be okay if I just put the pineapple and the cucumber and the celery in, and then it'd be a nice yellow. But I often like to add my greens or my morning powders, that I call them. And when you add a greens or a morning powder to herbal powders and stuff, it usually turns kind of a little bit of a mucky brown. So in that case, what you can do is you can just add a little piece of beetroot. So so that will help give it a little pink, so that it looks like you added berries to it, but you didn't. So yeah, so I'm just going to add a little bit of beet to it too, which also has its own beautiful qualities. Oh my gosh, it just flew out of my head what the beets are good for. Okay, so I'm going to add a couple of these apples, and we've been gleaning, and I have a gleaning story for you. Or are those apples? Oh yeah, they're apples. These are apples, and these are apples. It's all apples. I haven't had any pears yet so far. So we're going to add 2 apples, and then we're going to add the pineapple for our sweetness. I did get a fresh pineapple, which I'm really happy about. And yeah, so, and of course, you know, the pineapples, they have the 2 apples. The pineapples have, I'm going to use this little cutting tray here, because when you cut them, you know, they're so juicy. So, and I'm sure there is the professional way of cutting a pineapple. I'm sure there is, and I have no idea. I never bothered to look it up. But anyway, this is how I do it. And so anyway, I'm just going to do this and talk about pineapples. So pineapples have enzymes, and oh my gosh, you know, my sister-in-law taught me how to pick out a pineapple, and she said that if you pull on the little center, the leaf should pull out, and if it's too hard to pull out, it's not ripe. And you know, I completely forgot to do that, and see how hard I had to pull that out. This is not quite exactly perfectly the ultimate sweetness that it should be. So, but that's okay. I'm all right with that. We're going to use it anyways. And, but yeah, that I did pay attention to and learn. She never taught me how to cut one up though. So this is my, feeble attempt. So with the pineapples, yes, I was saying that they have enzymes in them, similar to the mango. So they are really helpful for digestion. Having said that, in a lot of my nutrition courses and things like that, ideally, fruit should be eaten alone. So fruit should be eaten 20 minutes before a meal or 2 hours after, because it will break down and start to, it'll start to be able to be digested. It'll start breaking down with the enzymes much faster than anything else that you eat, like all fruits. So fruits would be, almost, depending on the fruit, almost ready to digest in 20 minutes. And so if you've eaten something else, I think somebody else on, hey, Darlene, hi, good morning. So if you've eaten anything else, the stomach will not let the fruit go through until everything is digested to the exact consistency, and it's called chyme, C-H-Y-M-E, I think. Anyway, so your stomach will let it through to go through to the intestine until it's that consistency. So if you've eaten fruit, it's going to hang on to that fruit while everything else gets digested, and then the fruit will start to ferment and create gas. Pineapple, the mango, is that they do have digestive enzymes, and you can buy supplements with pineapple enzymes and mango enzymes, and especially papaya is very, very well known. But so you can take those, whatever they've done in the herbal factory, they have taken those enzymes out, and I don't know how they do it, freeze dry it or something, and then it helps you digest. So having said that, you can and you could eat your pineapple or your mango or your papaya 20 minutes before a meal, and it'll help to start those digestive enzymes into preparing to receive and break down the rest of the meal, right? So you can do that. Yeah, and it all depends on how sensitive you are, with your digestion, and how you're functioning, right? I mean, I could probably do fruit with a meal because digestion is not my genetic potential challenge, or my current, because you're working with genetics as well as working with what you've acquired, what you've manifested over the years. By doing all the things that we do, we manifest our own issues many times. For the majority of us anyways, or speaking for myself, manifested things that I was not genetically predisposed to. So, so digestion is not one of them. Anyways, okay, so there's our pineapple. I'm just going to set the little skins there. And I'm going to add the morning, my morning powders. That's what we're adding. And so I'll tell you about those later. And because it'll be something to talk about while we're doing the all these apples. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm going to add this is quite a bit of smoothie, so I'm gonna add like a tablespoon of the morning powders. That gives a boost in nutrition and all kinds of things that I'm going to tell you about in a little bit. So, did Jane come on? I don't know if I saw Jane. Sorry if I missed anybody. Hi, good morning. Okay, so yeah, on to the blending, and that's it. Okay, so we're going to add some water, and we're going to blend away with my fancy new lid. So another thing with when you're making your smoothie, the more liquid that you add, the more it's going to be harder for the blades to catch the whatever's in it, right? Food, because it'll be flying around in the water. And that's actually kind of like enzymes too. When you're eating something, anything, don't drink a bunch of anything with it, like water or whatever. Don't drink a bunch of fluid, because the same thing, the enzymes will be flying through all the liquid, trying to grab it to digest, because it has to mush, like it doesn't really mush. The stomach's a muscle, but it kind of sort of does, and it has to mix anyways all the acids and the enzymes and everything for the food to digest. And if you've got too much liquid in there, it can't really effectively catch the food, so to speak, to break it down. So don't drink a whole bunch of water. Similarly, we don't want to add too much water to this so that the blades can grab the food and grind it up. But we want to add enough water that that we don't kill the motor on the blender. That's interesting. I'll have to think about that with the stomach. So I'm going to put my fancy lid on. Oh, I'm so not used to having a wonderful, look at it. It even snaps on. Like, it's so awesome. See, it's got the little snaps. There we go. It's so new to me. I don't even know how to run it. And it closes the top too. Oh, I'm so happy. Okay, so we're going to make noise now. Okay, so, and you can see that did turn out to be the perfect amount of water. I didn't even have to put a towel on. Oh my God. Didn't spill a drop. Very exciting. So, yeah, so it came out the perfect consistency, and I didn't add any cream or anything. A lot of people like to add, well, a lot of people like to add yogurt, which I think is defeating the purpose a bit, unless it's like super, super natural, like homegrown, homemade yogurt. Well, that might be a little bit thick, but anyway, you can add some more water to it, but I like it like that because it's kind of like it's more like a smoothie consistency. And see how the beet just made it the perfect color of kind of looks like mango. So the pineapple adds a perfect consistency. I should grab a little paper, a green mustache from my greens. I've done that a lot. Go walking around with a little green mustache. No, I don't know if you caught that or not. Anyway, about the red mustache and the green mustache. But anyway, if you missed that, you're gonna have to email me or message me. Okay, so there's the smoothie. Okay, I'll set that there. Okay, we're a little wobbly on the dehydrator, but that's okay. Okay, so a new knife, and we are on to the apples. So this is like super, super easy, you guys. I want to see what you can see if I move them here. Maybe I'll leave them here because you can still see them. And put the jar here. Or put the jar here because I have to cut them. And I don't know if you guys really want to watch me cut them. Okay, how about if I go like this? These here. Move the mango salsa there. Put these here. So you can still see that. You can see the jar. Okay, and you can probably see me cutting. Okay. Crazy easy. There's just absolutely nothing to this. Honestly, you guys, this is, and I know, look at my beautiful apples. They're not so beautiful. They're very cute though. I love their little freckles and polka dots. So I'm on a gleaning team where the gleaners go, and most communities have this, where you volunteer to go and you pick the fruit that would have fallen off the trees. And if the owners of the homes can't pick the fruit and it falls on the ground, then it attracts the bears, and we have enough of a bear problem here. And so what we do is we volunteer to go out and we clean up all the fruit on the ground, and then we pick all the fruit off the trees, and then we donate a third of it to charity, and a third of it to the homeowner, and a third of it to the gleaners. Like the gleaners split that other third. And so yeah, so I'm one of the volunteers for that, and we've been picking a lot, and I do have a pick story for you. But anyways, this particular apple tree, you know, it's like a community service to get the apples off this to keep the bears away. So even though some of these are not what you would prefer to cook with or to do anything with, because they're pretty, I don't know what it's called, but I think it might be called blight or something. I don't know, but it's got the little scabby freckles on it. But hey, it's for a couple hours worth of work. It's free fruit, and it makes amazing. Any scraps, almost any scraps can make applesauce. I mean, apple juice. So you just basically put it in chunks. Don't have to peel it. Don't have to core it. If you were making apple pie, you keep all your peels, keep all your cores, keep all the stems, everything. Throw it in a jar like this, and honestly, it doesn't get any easier. I do tend to avoid the bruises. You know, I think that I probably don't want anything weird happening in my apple cider vinegar from a bruise. And similarly, you know, I mean, if I find a bug in these apples, I don't really need any protein in my apple cider vinegar. But it just doesn't get any easier. You fill this up, and yeah, and you add water. And if you aren't, like, I'm making a lot because I have a lot of apples, and I need a lot of apple cider vinegar because I use a lot of apple cider vinegar. So so I'm doing it in these are like the gallon jars, and but typically you would add a quarter cup of sugar to 1 quart of water. Once your jar is full, you fill your jar with apples, and then once your jar is full, that should have maybe been smaller. The smaller the pieces are, the faster it's going to ferment. But I'm not in any hurry, you know. I mean, I've still got this one here from 2018, and I don't need it to ferment faster. But if you want it to ferment faster, like typically, if you're using smaller pieces, it'll ferment in 30 days. So, but I have a lot of apples here, and I don't really care how long it takes, and I don't want to spend 2 days doing this. So I'm just going to get it in there, and it can take its own time. So, yeah, and then I will, like, we're going to be gleaning more, so I will be getting more apples, and those ones I will be, you know, probably peeling and doing other things with. So when I save the peels, yeah, you leave the seeds in, totally. Hi, Sylvia. Good morning. Okay, yeah. I'm glad. Facebook keeps kicking us off, but I'm glad we're back on. But yeah, seeds, peels, everything, stems, it doesn't matter. It's just to, it's kind of like fermenting sauerkraut. It's the natural bacteria on the fruit or the vegetable, whatever it is that you're fermenting. And it starts the fermentation process. And I know that you know, that people kind of frown on, oh, you're adding sugar. So I am adding a organic cane sugar. I have a couple different kinds here. But even with, like, when you're making kombucha or something like that, with kombucha, you know, a lot of people use just white sugar, and there is no white sugar, like there's no sugar left in the kombucha because the bacteria and the yeast and the SCOBY and all that eat the sugar. So they transform the sugar so that there's absolutely no sugar in the kombucha when it's finished. So similarly, there will be no sugar left in this apple cider vinegar. You know, it's going to go right into vinegar. There will be no sugar when it's finished. So, so yeah, so that's the quarter cup of sugar per quart, and because this is like a gallon jar pretty much, I'm not good with math, but I looked it up, and it's 4 quarts pretty much makes a gallon. So I am going to put 4 1/4 cups of sugar in, which equals 1 cup, right? So yeah, so that's my math for the day. So yeah, so this is, I'm going to be doing this for a little while. So what we'll do is, and it's the perfect thing to do with fruit that's, you know, I mean, it would be so hard to get the good pieces out of this. Like, oh, the other thing you can do is you can always take it and get it made into apple juice or apple cider. Apparently, I've never done that, but apparently there's a place in Coombs that makes amazing apple cider if you drop all your apples off. The other thing I will say too, yeah, you know, I can use coconut sugar. I have used coconut sugar, and it's probably fine. I mean, from what I understand from the research, anything that turns into vinegar is safe, but it's very murky. Like, it's very murky, and it's like the mother is kind of woven through. So I did try it with coconut sugar. I even tried it with honey, and I'm just wondering. Yeah, I didn't label. See, there's this one here. It's much murkier, and that's from a different batch. I think this was the one with the coconut sugar, and it was darker, and it's like the mother sort of floats up through it. So yeah, so it all depends what you want. I mean, it's not going to hurt you for sure, because once it's vinegar, it's vinegar. But it doesn't seem to, I don't know. I'm not an expert on it. You know, I've kind of learned this from friends and from what I could learn on the internet, of course. But you know, everybody says, all the experts say that it's absolutely fine. But when it's super murky like that, I'm more to use it for something like cleaning, or when we need our bug spray, I used an apple cider vinegar, or for other things. So if it doesn't look right, I tend to use it for something else. Which brings me to the point that we are going to make cleaning vinegars. We can do cleaning vinegars, and I'm thinking of doing that maybe next week or whenever. And so you can pretty much ferment anything with water and a little bit of sugar and make it turn into a vinegar. So, you know, one of the things would be like a hair rinse. You could add lavender to it and make a hair rinse, or rose petals, you know, face toner. There's all kinds of things that you can do with the natural apple cider vinegar. Yeah, so gonna fill this up, and you know, you really want to get I didn't pack this in very good. You want to get as many apples as you can, because you want it packed tight, and then cover it with the water. Oh, this is actually a pretty good apple. I'll keep him for something else. So okay, so what I was going to talk to you about too. Hey, you know what? I just throwing fruit on the floor again. We do that almost every day, throw food on the floor. And usually the dog eats it. I don't know if she'll eat an apple. But I just thought of that. We'll do that with the pineapple crust, the pineapple skin. We'll do some vinegar with that. So yeah, so let's just have fun and experiment. Like I said, I'm not an expert at it, but I love to experiment with new things, and it's so fun to have you guys hanging out and watching me experiment with different recipes and different herbal things. And we explore wildcrafting and herbs and everything. I'm a certified herbalist, but I'm not a professional cook. So when I'm working with food, you know, really I'm just having fun experimenting, and we're just doing it together and checking it out, and then I make the mistakes so that you don't have to, or that you can make other ones, or that I can make other ones. So yeah, so it's just a fun, this Facebook Live has just turned into a really fun morning gathering of friends, real Facebook friends, and so it's been super fun. But I do have, I don't know, over 150 15-minute videos on healthy food and healthy recipes and how to make healthy food. And so I have a lot of videos on YouTube, and a lot of really, I have to say, a lot of really nice pictures on Instagram too. So for sure, check out my YouTube channel for the recipes on all of the different 15-minute fast, healthy, easy meals. So, okay, so we've got this pretty full, and I do kind of want to keep it under the water, so I'm just going to stop there for this jar. I didn't add the sugar in. Well, I'm just going to put the sugar on top and the water will bring it down to the bottom. Doesn't matter. You can sprinkle it through. You can put it like halfway through. When I put the lid on, I'm going to put it up and down, up and down. I'm going to put it up and down anyway. I'm going to, kind of gently move it up and down. Yeah, I guess so. Upside down to mix it. And then because it's warm, it's going to warm out. I mean, it's going to help to melt the sugar. So that'll be awesome. So again, because I'm using this big jar, if you're just going to use a quart jar, you only need a quarter cup of sugar. And that's the other thing too, from cane syrup, is that if your fruit is very sweet, you really don't even need sugar. You can just put it in water and let it ferment, and it will usually start to become vinegar. And so especially if you're not using it for, ingesting, right? If you're not using it internally, it doesn't really matter. And if you're going to throw out those skins and peels and stuff like that anyway, you might as well just give it a try. So, and like I say, I'm not an expert at this. This is kind of new to me, but it's really fun. Well, it's not that new. I made apple cider vinegar years ago. This is from 2018. But the process of experimenting with different fruits, that part is new to me. That I haven't done that much before. Hopefully I've got enough water here. I wasn't thinking that I was going to fill a whole quart jar. I might have to go fill this up again. So you do want to, try and add filtered water so that it doesn't have chlorine. But you do not want to add distilled water, because the distilled process has been like, it's to kill everything, right? So the distilled water has no minerals, has no natural minerals. It has devoid of all of those things, and it will actually, I'll talk to you while I fill this up again. The distilled water will actually chelate minerals out of your body. And so, I want to talk while the water is running. Okay, so the distilled water will actually chelate minerals out of your body, and so you don't want to be drinking distilled water over a long period of time, because it draws out the minerals, right? So it is important, if you're going to be on distilled water, or you're drinking distilled water over a long period of time, it's really important for you to replace those minerals that it's chelating out of the body, which means removing. And so so you want to be having something with minerals in it. Like, you can, of course, you can do things like, although I'm not a fan of anyone taking calcium, because we tend to have too much calcium in our bodies already from all of the calcium things. But you could replace with magnesium and, all those different things, manganese, all the different vitamins and minerals. Like, you could take a mineral supplement, or a vitamin mineral supplement, if you're on distilled water, if you're drinking distilled water over a long period of time. The other thing you can do is things like, I don't have it right here, but you can, if you have the Celtic sea salt, it's full of natural minerals, and of course your fruits and vegetables and all that have the vitamins, minerals in them. And then the other thing is doing greens powders and that kind of thing. So just make sure that you're replacing it if you do have to be on distilled water for any length of time. Okay, so this went through pretty good. We're just going to fill this up here, and that's it. Like, so crazy easy. I will check on it, because I've got a couple apples sticking up. I could fill it up more, but you can check on it after a while. What I'm going to do is, like I said, turn it upside down a few times today. Just make sure that sugar is thoroughly mixing, right? And then, like I said, if I had cut this thinner, I'm gonna say, you know, skinny little strips, or peels or cores or whatever, it will ferment a little bit faster, but I'm not too worried about it. And what we'll do, so you can see the enzymes are starting to change the color of the apples already. So I'll have to be careful with this lid. Obviously it's not that tight, but yeah, I'll do it over the sink. But see, that this is where I was saying the enzymes in the fruit starts to break down right away. So these apples are turning brown, so they're starting to break down like right away. And so that's what happens in your body when you eat fruit, and then it's all getting ready to go through into the intestine, and it can't do that if you eat something else with the fruit. It just holds it back. Okay, so that's our first jar. I have many more to make, and oh yeah, so I was going to tell you, I might as well just do this while you're here. I will just carry on for a few minutes. But I wanted to tell you about the morning powders. And so the morning powders are that I put into the smoothie. It's a supplement that I create. Set that there. That I create for ourselves, and you don't have to have all this. You can change it up based on your own health issues, or you know, genetic potentials, or whatever you think you might need. Anyway, my morning powders, I'll just show them to you here, is this powder, and it's mixed together, and it has maca, ashwagandha, astragalus, olive leaf extract, grape skins, moringa, what's the other one? Shadabari. Shadabari's good. And so, and I might have put a little bit of ginseng in, I can't quite remember. But anyways, that's the morning powders. And so the maca is really, really good for the immune system. I know some herbalists like to say maca for the caca, but it really helps your system. It's good for energy and stamina, and yeah, it's just an all-around really, really good immune booster. It's good for your brain. I should put ginkgo in it. Thinking of that. Ginkgo is also good for the brain. Most of you guys probably know that already. I don't know. I'm not gonna, if I think there's a little wormhole, I'm not gonna put that in. So, okay, I don't think it is, but I'm just gonna, on the safe side, like I said, I don't really want any protein in my apple cider vinegar. So, okay, so maca, astragalus. You know, I use a lot of astragalus. If you guys have been watching me, you know that I talk about astragalus a lot. I love adding it to soups, to whatever. You can buy it in long, it's like a bark, you can buy it in long strips, and then put it in your soup like you would a bay leaf, and then remove it afterwards. Or you can buy it in a powder too. The astragalus, really good for the immune system. It's good for, it's got lots of antioxidants. It's, they say it's an anti-aging. I don't know. I obviously haven't been taking it long enough for that. But that's what they say. And what was the other thing I was going to say? Oh yeah, it's very mild tasting. So you can add it to anything and you won't notice a flavor. So, which brings me to ashwagandha, which I also really use a lot of and love. But the ashwagandha has a fairly strong bitter flavor. And as you guys know, that I always say bitter is better. Anything bitter is really good for you. Good for your liver, good for your digestion, good for your, you know, everything. Your gallbladder. It's, you know, bitter just helps with everything, helps you to digest. And if you aren't digesting properly, then you're not absorbing your food. And if you're not absorbing your food properly and having the right vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and all the tools, those tools rebuild your cells and help your body to run optimally. So, so you really do want to have your bitters for that reason. Anyways, The ashwagandha is like an anti-stress. It's an adaptogen. It helps with stress. It helps with hormones. It's a really amazing Indian herb is what it is. They use it a lot. They say it has a lot of male energy, you know, and I'm just trying to think now. The shatavari is more of a feminine energy, a feminine herb with the hormones, but it balances both ways, right? Because seriously, we all have male energy and female energy, and so I think that to address all of the hormones and not just focus on one is a really good balance, right? Because everybody knows you don't want to have just estrogen, you know, too much estrogen, because that will have the really bad side effects that it has. But you don't want to just have progesterone either. Excuse me. And testosterone and things like that. So anyways, okay, we were on ashwagandha. We talked about shatavari, moringa. I really love moringa. It's pretty. It's a really pretty green, the powder. And aside from being pretty, it's antimicrobial, antifungal, antioxidant. I just really like it. It's really antioxidant, and I'm pretty sure it gives really good energy as well. I mean, I know energetically it does. Physically, probably too. Yeah, and grape skins, you guys know that that's really good for the blood vessels and all that kind of thing. Has resveratrol. Anything with grape has resveratrol, which we really, really need to enhance our immune systems. That's kind of, sort of, a residue. I'm going to say a residue or a side effect. The resveratrol has, if you follow down the line of, they were working with remdesivir with the COVID, right? They're working with remdesivir. And if you follow down the line of the source of remdesivir, then you'll go down to the avenue of the resveratrol, and the foods that have resveratrol are very important for your immune system for this particular issue. Okay, so I will let you guys go down the rabbit hole like I did and find all that stuff out yourself. But just to know that the grape seed's very important, although I'm going to back that up, and having said that, unfortunately, grapes carry and hold the most chemicals and pesticides of almost anything other than peanuts. Peanuts and grapes are the worst thing you can eat if they aren't organic. That is in a book called Diet for a Poisoned Planet. Diet for a Poisoned Planet. And they talk about all of the chemicals, whatever that other word was I just used. Anyway, they talk about the amounts of the chemicals in all of the foods, and which ones are really important to buy organic and which ones are naturally fend off chemicals and pesticides and stuff like that. That's the word I was looking for, pesticides. And so anyways, when you have grapes or raisins, make sure they're organic. Okay, so yeah, so that's a really important thing for your resveratrol. You know, don't be eating all kinds of GMO chemical grapes like in abundant amounts just to get your resveratrol. Try to make sure that they are organic, okay, because they do hold a lot of pesticides and chemicals. And you know, it's like he says in this book, that onions are not really something that you know, that's super necessary to buy organic, because the onions tend to repel and not absorb the chemicals and the pesticides as much as other foods. So anyways, okay, so here we are. We're just about finished here. I don't want to bore you guys more with watching me cut apples for the next hour, and we're almost out of time. Okay, and I think I see all the comments. If I missed any comments, put them on the Facebook, or if you want to, you can message me, and I'm happy to answer your questions. And if you have any suggestions of anything you want me to experiment with, or show you, or share, and that would be really fun to explore, because I love doing new things and experimenting, especially with foods and herbs, and anything natural like that is super awesome and fun to hang out with you guys and do all that stuff, all that fun stuff. Okay, so we will see. I'm almost finished. Look at that. Thanks for hanging out, you guys. That was awesome, and we'll see you tomorrow morning at 11. And share this, check out my Instagram and my YouTube channel, and subscribe, and we will see you tomorrow morning. Thanks for coming and hanging out, and get some apples. Make your own apple cider vinegar. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow.